Welcome, everybody, again to another Oklahoma Archery podcast. There's no intro music because we're missing Dave. He's off the clock at this time, but we got Mr. Bobby Pinley here. We want to tell you all about an event coming up. We want to tell you all about Bobby, and we want to tell you about a new range down in southeastern Oklahoma. So y'all tune in, hang out with us for the next 45 minutes, and we're going to tell you some stories, and we're going to tell you where you can come shoot your bow. How you doing, Mr. Pinley?
I'm great. How are you, bud?
Man, I'm surviving the week. It's hump day. We got 2 days till I travel out east to hit the qualifier this weekend. And tell everybody the name of your range and give them the address and what we're doing this weekend.
Well, the range is called Fort Tracy, and it's at 58596 Lennox Place Road, Lennox Place, Muse, Oklahoma. It's actually in Whitesboro, but you know how the mailing addresses work. But we've been busting tail. I mean, we've been real lucky. We've had contributors. We've been real blessed to have Dave and Kat. They've just went out of their way. You know, that's where we've got it put, and their time and money and efforts, and they're out there working right now while I'm talking to you. But man, we've just been so blessed to have, Garrett and Shelby. Y'all know them if you shot any at all. They've been over here working equipment, just building roads, trying to get this water to drain, putting up targets. We put out stakes the other day. I was weed eating, running chainsaw, and I'm too fat for that, and it's too hot for me. But, I just trudge through. I'm that guy that 2 lanes, take a rest. 2 lanes, take a rest. But, we've just been blessed. We've had so many people donate bulldozers and skid steers and backhoes. And I mean, a lot of people want to see this work, and we're just glad to have them. And, I do name shout outs, but I'll wait because we got a lot of time to cover.
It's good to have good help. I'll tell you what, I mean, Trying to put a range together, you hear so many of them that they struggle because they're like, man, we just can't get the manpower. And then there's a couple of them that have, 20 people show up to set a range, and you got 2 of them doing the work, 2 of them helping, and 16 of them going, what do I do with my hands?
Yeah, they do the Ricky Bobby there on you. Yeah. You're just like, yeah.
My favorite part's when you're trying to range the target to set the stakes, and you got 3 people in the way, and you're like,
yeah,
get out of the road.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, yeah. Like, jump off in the ticks there for a second, bud, or stand behind me and save me a step. But
pretty sure that cord didn't have a crack in it earlier.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know about you, but when I see him throwing the heads around and busting the ears off of those targets, that is absolutely. I've fixed more ears and busted antlers than anything. And
that's where you do the old eye twitch. You're like, what are you doing?
Just like, come on, man. I don't know. We've had a lot of good luck with our ranges having good current targets and cores, and they're all. So for clarification, everybody, y'all do have 20 Delta McKenzies. They've all got uppers and lowers on them. It's kind of a standard for Oklahoma ASA. It's not part of the rules, but that's kind of what we like to shoot. So I tell ranges, if you don't got them, I'll bring them. So any new ranges out there that don't have one and want to start one up, come on with it. We want you on board. Love having new ranges down in the southeast part because we're hoping to see some people from Arkansas, Texas, Louisiana. I know there's a big pro-am this weekend up at Metropolis. So anybody that didn't make the trip or got scared off because of the weather, come out and shoot your bow. It looks like it's going to be dry, 90 degrees Saturday, 93 degrees Sunday. So not too hot yet. And I'll let you tell everybody about the range conditions, but from what I understand, there's a lot of shade. So we're looking for those June and July ranges with good timber to stand underneath, so we ain't gonna get sunburned.
It's one of those things. You're never gonna please everybody. Some they want the shade, but they don't want the shade, right? I want to stand in the shade. I just don't want to shoot in the shade, right?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. I mean, there's some lighting on some. It's definitely going to be a difficult range. Of course, we're dealing with the mud. We live down by the river. So in a van down by the river, so I'm always making that joke. But we do, and it's just the way it is. And we've had some very untypical rainfall levels down here. But again, we've worked diligently trying to haul in some gravel, putting in tin horns, cutting drainage, you know what I mean? But when it just comes down to it, we're bow hunters at heart, right? That's what got us all started. And if you don't own a pair of rubber boots and you shoot 3D archery, I don't know. You kind of got to figure, what are you doing? Because this time of year, we know this is going to happen. I've stood shin deep in water and had to find a peg with my foot, and shoot. I think we've all been through that, but right now it's looking good. The rain has just been splitting around us, and we've been really fortunate as to kind of see those storms kind of just break up, and we're just thankful for it. Again, we praying folks around here. So when it goes around, we're like, yes, sir. Thank you, Lord. Because we've been working so hard at it, right? Nobody comes off the range here lately what we ain't muddy, and it doesn't bother us as much as we feel like it'll bother others. But you know how it is when you're laying out a range, you want to lay out an experience. And when you're laying out an experience for people, you want them to think, man, I want to be back at that one. So we're trying really hard to make sure the experience is good. And with that, though, we've got to understand that we operate within the limits of Mother Nature. That's 3D archery. We're outside. There's no air conditioned rooms. But the good thing is you are going to be down a shaded lane. It's going to be good walking. You ain't having to, stumble, and you might slip a little, but you just put on them rubber boots and kind of man up, you know what I mean? Or woman up, whatever you want to call it. But I imagine the kids won't mind making some mud pies too. So, it's going to be good. It's actually looking good. When we got that drainage fixed, it's really helped a lot. But there's been a lot of people down there working on that road, and I work, till 7 in the evening. So, or I get home around 7. So without those folks, I'm not going to take the credit. I mean, they have really poured themselves into it, and we're really glad they have. It's nothing that we've had to beg to get done. They just say, we'll be there.
Hey, do you have it set up as a big circle path, or is it a down and back lane pro-am style?
It's actually a down and back lane, because we were going to make it to where it was a circle path coming up through the pasture there, but that's where our drainage just happened to be, the natural lay of the land. So to keep people, I did cut a lane down through there thinking, well, you could just make the circle, but the road's wide enough that it actually makes a big L. So you'll walk down, and most of your targets are going to be just straight as you can see down this road, and you'll turn and you'll have, I think it's 5 or 6 targets that you'll make that L, and then you can just turn around. You won't be in anybody's way, and you'll just come back up. So
I like the down and back because it's more of a social aspect,
Me too.
You get to see everybody, because I love 3D because everybody shows up for it and you get to hang out with your buddies. But sometimes you're just with those 3 or 4 or 5 guys in your group and you don't see anybody the rest of the day, So having everybody in a big linear course it's kind of like the pro-ams. You say hey to your buddies, hey, how you doing? I'm tearing it up. Or how you doing? I'm selling my bow. You never know what the excuses are. So I like that. It's going to be good. Is it mostly talk about elevation? You said it's going to be a little longer, a little darker, might be muddy. Is it mostly flat, kind of lowland?
No, we have, the first few, you're going to have some slightly uphill shots. It's not bad. Predominantly is going to be probably half and half flat shots and half, a few uphill. I'd say slightly elevated. I wouldn't even call them uphill, but you're going to have some, just because, like you said, that natural runoff. So obviously you can think, if I'm in the flatlands walking, then I'm going to have to shoot off of this and up into that a little bit. So it's not bad. Main thing, it's not going to be an easy course. I'm not going to lie to you. We got them shades, and that's where it can get a little tough. And I'm not going to lie, we tried to set it up where it'd be a little bit tough. We want to, if you're gonna say you can do it, you got to earn it, and that's the way we like it. We don't want to, as old JJ the boss would say on that racing show I used to watch. He said, I don't want to find a bird on the ground. I want to win. You know what I mean? So
yeah. So, and that's what we've had so many new ranges in the past couple of years at Oklahoma ASA. A lot of them have been really good. First time hosting. Come tell us what you think. give us some constructive criticism.
Yeah.
You know, that was last week. We had Bowtown 2.0 and Triple C Maysville down there at Lindsay, and they're like, guys, we cut this in a week and a half. We lost access to our first range, so we had to make a audible at the line, and we got this property locked up so we can do whatever we want with it. But we want to hear from you all. What would you like? What'd you not like? What would you do different? And I think that's part of why a lot of these new ranges have had such good support from the organization, is like, hey, sky's the limit. You just tell us what you want and we'll see what we can do. So, every time you move a lane here, try this, find a fork in the trees, find one in the open, put the open one in the shade. It's going to be different every time. You're never going to see the same range twice, even if you hit it year after year after year.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we have thought about too, even trying to implement maybe a sheet up there. What is it that what's the high point and what's the low point? What would you like to see different, And I think you have to keep that open mind of criticism. And I wouldn't even call it criticism as much as just, what little tweaks here and there, right?
Yeah.
Because again, we're talking about the experience.
Yeah.
And I think the woods that we have around here, just being by the river and the scenery, I think this is going to be right on up there with anybody's. You know what I mean? It doesn't look like a range that you forced into something, but it actually looks like natural scenery that you're shooting off into the woods, you're hunting. And again, it goes back to a hunting aspect. That's most of us guys, we all started with a hunt bow in our hands, and I appreciate that aspect of 3D. That's why I like doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's when I got started. I'd use my hunting bow and I'd set it down. Didn't have a long stabilizer, didn't have a set of limb legs. I'd set that camo bow on the ground, go pull my arrows, and I'd look for it for the next 30 yards. Where'd I go? There we go. And you got to put some neon green strings on it or something just so it stands out. I think it'll disappear on you. So I'm looking forward to it. Down there in the southeast, we need more of them around. If we could do a 4-corner shoot at Poto or something like that, like now we're talking.
Right. Yeah. Because we got Arkansas coming too. I got a hold of their coordinator, and I guess he got a hold of you as well. I don't know, but supposedly they've posted it and they're going to come join us too. So it should be a pretty good deal,
Yep. I know it got posted, and Louisiana Archery Podcast is going to post it. Texas ASA posted it. I sent a message to Louisiana ASA also. I think Missouri be a little far, but for everybody going up north to get rained on at Metropolis, so we're gonna do everything we can to have a good Saturday, Sunday here.
Sure. And we're gonna provide. We'll have concession too. I mean, we're gonna try to, like I said, make sure everybody's comfortable. Water, concession, good places to park. It's gonna be really good walking, Neil. A lot of people. Obviously, I run an archery shop, so a lot of the questions I get from a bunch of older guys is, how's the walking? And, and that's a big deal to them. I mean, if you've not ever had to, if you never was stoved up, is what we call it in the South, or had something, causing you an ail, then you just can't understand it, just how concerning that is. You look at it, it's like when you're a big dude, you size up that chair.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's and that plays into how you strategize the range too, because we had one out in Quinlan that was not overly long. Like the short ones were very gettable, but 15 targets in, walking up and down the hills, I was like, man, I'm gassed out on these last 5. And you get to 15 through 20 and they were not easy ones. So it was get all you can in the first 15, because the last 5 might eat your lunch. And once you've been there a couple times, I think you kind of have an advantage knowing, like Bartlesville, they've got that long straightaway where all your long stuff's here. And it's like, okay, play it safe. Because when you make the turn at the end of the L, you got a bunch of shorties between, at 12 and 20. So you figure out on some of these ranges where to make your hay and where to play it safe, and what you can get away with. And that's kind of something I look forward to. Every range, it's like, man, it's a blank canvas. These guys, they got the same 20 targets that everybody else does, but no 2 of them are going to be the same. And I'm trying to find a way. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but at the end of the year, when we do our shooter of the year calculations, we take our best 6 plus state. So I want to look in that spreadsheet if I can find a way to isolate them. And if anybody out there is an Excel wizard or something and you're smarter than me, let me know. I want to figure out how many best 6 scores each range had. I want to figure out, like, if you had 1 or 2 people that had their best score at your range, it was a tough set. Or if you had 44 guys, or archers rather, have a best 6 score from your range, you set a softball one, you set a cake one.
Yep.
So I want to kind of be able to give that back to the clubs. Is like, and it might have just been dark that day. It might have been windy that day. It doesn't have anything to do with how the range was laid out, but conditions and physicality. I want to see where our best 6 scores are coming from in the state, because we got people. I mean, Garrett and Shelby, they've shot 20 rounds this year. Which ones? Because people look at that. Like, I know Dodie and Dwayne, they'll look at the ranges from last year and see who. Okay, everybody was 2 up at this range, or everybody was 12 up at this range, and they're like, I'm gonna bet that one's worth the gas to go to that one. So we send them all. We send out a rubric for like guidelines, but the way averages and math works, it just, I mean, a range is a range. Like, it's going to, you put a 6-yard target out there and it skews your averages. The rest of them could be 42 yards and a half. And it's just like, yep, it was average. It's like, it's average because you put a 17-yarder out there. Doesn't mean it's easy.
So, we got weather to contend with. We got terrain. We got the way it's setting. We got shade. We got where the sun's at that time. You know what I mean? There's a lot of different factors that it's going to play into as if that range is hard or not, just simply by how, like you said, the ranges are the ranges sometimes, just as far as how far they are, but everybody has different terrain, right? Everybody has different conditions. The weekend may hold, something totally different. It may have, windy conditions. It may be hot and dry. I mean, there's just all kinds of things, because the shooter shooting the bow and how they interpret that, or how they cope with the weather, that's a big deal too,
Oh yeah. Cloud cover and rain will do a lot to you. So will 105-degree July weather. So everybody be thinking about that for state. June's numbers have not been half of what February, March, and April were. They're starting to go down. I know people go on vacation, the kids get out of school, they're playing t-ball and softball, but I think the people that come shoot in the hot months, they don't get gassed out quite as much at state. So, I work an office job. I'm inside all day in the AC. You put me out there 20 targets deep, and I'm out of my element. I'm out of breath. I'm getting heat stroke. I'm getting too hot. And it's like, you got to get acclimated this time of year, because it's been pretty mild weather, 80s and 90s. We haven't got that 100-degree stuff yet, but state's 30 days away, or 32 more days until Oklahoma ASA is finished for 2026. And I'm over here just giddy about it. I mean,
well, and these rainfalls have been crazy. And how it is in the South. I mean, when the rain falls and the sun pops out, you're not just contending with just dry heat. I mean, you've got the humidity levels that are astronomical, right? And that humidity will suck the water out of you.
Yep.
I mean,
shout out to everybody in the tropics.
I feel like it just jabs a big straw down me and just empties me out. You know what I mean? So, and that's what we're going to deal with here at this range. Of course, we've got that shaded lane, and it's like a tunnel down through there. And of course, even if the wind's blowing, you're going, boy, I need a crack in them trees so I can get some of that. You see the leaves moving, but you don't feel anything, and it's just the way it is. I mean, we've got to contend with what we've been given.
It's an ebb and flow, because at the one time you don't have wind to contend with. On the downside, you don't have wind to cool you off. So
that's right.
You got to figure out where's that sweet spot for a perfect condition.
Well, and that's kind of what I was talking about. You don't please everybody. It's too dark. But if it was hot, well, it's too sunny. Well, if it's windy, well, it was hot. But then if it's too windy, they're like, well, I couldn't aim worth a crap because of the wind, So it really is. But that's what makes it interesting, right?
Yeah, I think that's how the target archers get the reputation that we're spoiled and we're a bunch of complainers. It's like, no, we've just shot some good days and shot some bad days. And every time you drive an hour or two to a range and pay your $30 to shoot, you believe in your heart that it's going to be a good day. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And 4 targets in, you're going, it's not good.
Like, right. Everybody wants 67 degree or 76 degrees, a slight breeze, blowing at my back, and the lighting perfect, right? It's just, yeah, them are called unicorns, and we don't usually, I haven't spotted a unicorn in Southeast Oklahoma. Have you?
No, not
It
very
just don't
often.
happen, and of course with humidity, I've been telling people bring rubber boots and some off,
Yeah.
what I mean, or your thermocell, because you know how them mosquitoes are around here.
Yeah, we're gonna be thermocelled up. I'm gonna clip it to my belt instead of clipping it to my chair this time, just to be on the safe side. I don't want no West Nile or none of that before state. So
Yeah,
if I'm gonna drop dead, it's gonna be at or after state, not
Yeah.
before. So we'll have to get everybody get everybody through the year. We're
rub a little dirt on it, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I say everybody go pre-register for state. Get on the Facebook group. It's a Google Doc form. Takes about 2 minutes, and it lets us make your cards and do your peer grouping early and all that fun stuff. So if you're out there in the internet land driving down the road, pull it out on your phone. Don't drive in the ditch. Stay off the drunk bumps. But go ahead and get pre-registered so we can make those cards ahead of time and make the morning of a little easier on everybody. If you see me, I've got this glazed over panic look on my face for about 3 days, and something's going to go wrong. Something's going to go, and it never does. It's fine. But that's all. The only time I'm going to say it this episode. Go pre-register. I think there was 58 of them last time. We're hoping to get to 300. So 253 last year. That's the number to beat. Hoping it's over 275, closer to 300. We'll see, but we got a month to go. So y'all get on it. Come see us. Bobby, before we get into the shop you work at, you want to tell us what bow you're shooting? How'd you get started, and what are you shooting now?
Well, how I got started was I don't know how far back you want me to go. It seems like I've never not had a bow in my hand, right? So, as kids, we all, I was raised by a single mom. So, a lot of times God's grocery store is where we shopped. You know what I mean? So I'll just leave it at that. And so hunting just kind of got boring. And my brother, he's 7 years older than me, and he'd gotten into bow hunting. So he gave me my first bow. And I was about 15, and then it took me 3 years to kill a deer, but it was the best 3 years because the first year I learned that it wasn't easy, right? So the game took root inside of me, right? I just loved it. And then so the second year I worked that whole year at being the best shot I could be with a 30-inch draw bow, and I'm a 28-inch draw, as an old golden eagle. And what was draw length back then in poundage? Who knew what that was, right? Aluminum airs, overdraw, let her fly, and do the best you can. So I became, the best shot I could be with that. And then the third year I learned how to be a hunter. And it seemed like when that come together, I tagged out every year with my bow. And I'm just like, it never went away from me, where my brother, he's a really good hunter. And he taught me that, but he had no idea I was going to nerd out over bows. I mean, I went full on nerd out about it. Right. So, shot and everybody, you can be the backyard champion in your family. And that's what I was. That's basically it, and had a few instances where I went to a shop and bow just didn't get the care it needed. And so I just said, I'm going to learn how to do these things. And rocked on there probably around 98. Met Bobby Ketcher. He's a real good friend of mine. And he just kind of took me under his wing, no particular reason, and I just got to where I'd come over and visit with him, shoot a little bit. And he said, "Man, you shoot really good." And I'm like, "Really? That's cool." And didn't think no more of it. And then he kind of pointed me in the direction of target archery, and got me set up with my first setup, and taught me how to work on them. You know what I mean? And just a true ambassador of the sport, man. I've never seen him but anything but kind to people, willing to go out of their way. But for some reason, he took a shine to me. I told him I just looked homely enough, I guess, or I needed that much help. But just got out there and really started shooting 3D about 98. So I'm kind of one of the OGs, but all this new crop of folks, I'm always watching the senior class, because that's who I kind of come up watching, and I'm like, that's my dude, so, but really got into it hot and heavy there, went through the states, went through the national shoots, and the reason people quit seeing me for a while is the Lord called me to preach during that time. So I had to I had to pick one or the other, right? Because the weekends, but back to just to touch on what I'm shooting now, I'm shooting an Elite Veros. I was shooting the Exalt 35. I just shoot the Veros better. And a lot of people, that's a short bow. Well, I'm a short dude. I go with what I shoot best, and that's what I shoot the best. So I rigged out a Veros and throw me some bars on it, and I shoot a Hansky and an Axis sight with a shrewd scope. And man, that thing for me, it's shooting good because I learned me a good lesson. That I shot with you the very first shoot that I come back. I ain't shot in years, but I learned right then, the older you get, used to it come natural. Now I got to work for it. And
Wow.
So I went back, and I've got calluses on these hands and a sore back every day because that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been working for it, right? But so again, I got called to preach, and I had gathered up some sponsorship in that time, and really was rolling pretty heavy, getting bumped up in classes, and man, I had to submit to the call to preach, so that's what I did. And around 08, but then my boys, they started growing up. And of course, like you said, a lot of y'all know Garrett and Shelby, but I got two more as well, but they started shooting a little bit. And then Garrett, he pulled me off the couch, and here and there I'd go shoot, and I'm getting kind of in a spot where now I can actually go shoot, right? So find some days to get in there. But yeah, I think I've started about like a lot of people did, but I just kind of really have developed a love from the age of 15, and it's never went away. I've had a lot of hobbies in life, and this is the only one that it's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And I think you can agree with that. Those who really love it, we love it on the good days and the bad days, right? We're not throwing our bows and having a fit. We're just glad to be out there watching an arrow fly. And that's just one of the things that makes me love it. It's always something that you can improve yourself in, right? It's me, the bow, and an arrow out there. Nobody can tell me where to send it or how it's going to go. So it's kind of therapy to me. I look at that arrow fly, and I think I'm in full control of this, whether I am anything else in life right now. And it's just tough. Me and this arrow and this bow, we got a date out here, whether I'm sweating or freezing to death. And it's just therapy to me. So I'm thankful for my brother putting the love in me, and thankful to my friend Bobby Ketcher for putting I guess the passion and the understanding, right? And he really coached me too, as to how to properly fire a shot. And now I'm hopelessly addicted to set the holding weight high and pull on that sucker like it owes you money. You know what I mean? That's just, I'm that guy. I don't run a lot of weight on my bars. I depend on that tension to steady me up. So, old habits are hard to break, but both my shoulders don't appreciate it. But you know what? Next year I'll be in that senior class. So I'll be the young guy again. So, hey, it's great.
Yep. Turning 50 and beating up on the old guys. That's the only way I'm getting out of K45.
That's right. That's right.
I said, Garrett beats me most weekends, and the time we shot together, you beat Garrett. So by default, that makes you the best shooter in K45. I don't know if you can win out of it or age out of it at the same time, but you might be the first one to do it.
Well, an old blind dog will find an acorn every now and again, brother. I think it's just when it hits, you turn around and you play it off like, dang right, that's right where I was aiming. But inside you're going, I cannot believe that hit right there. I'm just
yeah. No, well, I think you got the right take on it, because we got a lot of new people, and some of them are just newly discovering tournament or archery, and you're riding the roller coaster every weekend with them. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. They got a new bow, it shoots better, but they haven't adjusted it yet. They haven't got used to it. And I hear so many people are like, oh, we don't win any money in ASA, $55, $60. And I'm like, it's not about the money you win. Archery is, to me, it's an act of self-discovery. You're just seeing if whatever you're doing with your bow and your shot works that day in those conditions. It's a test. The only person you're shooting against really is yourself. And there's people that have that mentality. And it's like, the guy that shoots the best doesn't have the most fun. I've seen the guy that has the most fun shoots the best. And people don't understand the distinction between those two. It's like, I could be 8 up, and here's Garrett over here shooting 22 up. And he just waxed the floor with me. But I know that I didn't punch it and I didn't make any bad shots. And I was happy with my 8 up. And I did good. I managed the nerves. I broke good shots. I picked a good spot. I had a good strategy. And I feel like I beat the range if I shot over 200. Now, some divisions you got to shoot 18 or 20 up to win it. Like we got some absolute killers out here putting up big scores every time. But if you can't play defense on them shooting, I mean, yeah, if they like shooting the lower and you plug the lower and make them call upper, that's about it. But if they're going to make that, there's nothing you can do to influence where they're going to shoot that arrow. So the only person you're truly competing with is you, because if your bow's sighted in and you break a good shot, you could go hit every single one of them, and I haven't seen it done. Lawson Vet came close in K45 Foley 3 years ago. I think he hit 19 out of 20 with 1 out the top, 36 up. And I was like, that's pretty good shooting, bub. He's and pro level now, so it goes to show you.
Yeah, right. And when that's the deal, we love archery. That's where it's got to come down to. You either love the pursuit of trying to be, the best. Of course we do. We're competitive at heart. That's why we're competing, right? Mm-hmm. But if you don't love archery, you won't stay. That's just fact. That's why you hear some guys, I'm done, I'm quitting, I'm selling man, good days or bad days, I'm in. I love it. I can't picture it. That's why I said it's a lifestyle. It's something we do even whenever, there's times it's the old struggle stick with wheels, or there's times you're like, man, I can't miss, but my uncle taught me something when I was hunting when I was younger, and I apply it really to everything, especially whenever you're trying to be your best at something. And he said, every time you go out, you learn something. And I used to not understand that when I was a kid. I used to think, nothing moved in front of me. He said, and you learned that. You learned that today in these conditions that it probably wasn't the best day to go. Well, you can apply that, whenever you're shooting around a 3D. If you'll really just take the time to learn, you'll learn that, that setup didn't work this good, or maybe I had a little problem here, a little problem there. But if I only translate that and push that into anger and frustration and wanting to quit and throw my hands up, then I'm really not learning how to make my setup better or how to make my shot better. So if you'll dissect that and take something away from the good shoots and something away from the bad shoots, I mean, I really think that's how you become well-rounded. You know what I mean? I've tried that before. That don't work. How many times you said that to yourself? Well, I've put that trigger in my hand. I'm going to tell you right now, I need to give that sucker away to the next kid that walks by. I don't need it in my hand. I mean, it's those things we know, but we don't know them until we get out there and discover that. Because, again, everybody shoots good in our range in the bow shop. Everybody shoots good in the backyard. But when it comes down to where it really matters, we got to figure out what it is that we're trying to do and the holes in our game. And then we can't find those
right there. That's where you hit the nail on the head right there, because I got a lot of buddies that just shoot in the backyard and post on Facebook. And I love them all to death, but they won't come to ASA. They won't come shoot with us. And I'm like, you might be in front of somebody that you're a better shooter than them, but they beat you. And you're looking at what they're doing, and you're looking at how their bow's set up. You're talking about how to execute, or, what'd you see on that target? Well, I saw that hole down there and I just added 4 yards and aimed right at it, and boom, right there. Give me good. You're going to pick up on something that somebody is doing just by, it's greatness by osmosis almost.
Right. Well, and that's actually the fellowship is what we call it in the church, but that's the camaraderie that you get when you come to an ASA. You actually walk a lane, with these guys that's been around for years that have tried everything. You know what I mean? And you get that opportunity to shoot with them, and you look at them and go, man, I cannot keep this thing from firing low, and then you go through the things, you share with them here's a few things that can cause you to fire low. And you give them some knowledge and some information. And I don't know any of the guys, the older crew. I don't know. Again, I've just started coming back into the newer crew, but that's what made me love the older guys. They'd take their time and say, hey, don't come out of your back wall, pull into your shot, just different things that can cause you to fire low. Of course, there's a few of them, but you get that knowledge that you don't get sitting in your backyard by yourself trying to hit up YouTube. You know what I'm saying? It's not that I got anything against it. We live in an amazing technological age, but the point is, you know, you can get a shortcut to that because some of these guys will share that knowledge with you, because I don't know an archer. I want you to be the best shot you can be if I stand by you on that stake. I want to get you at your best. You know what I mean? And I want to give you my best. But we learn these things by showing up, right? Yeah. You know, but it has to come from a love within you, because if it don't, the very minute you run into adversity, I want to quit. And so, you know, we got to remember that why it is we showed up, right? We showed up with our hunting bow and used to have a blast. I can shoot my hunting bow good. I had a blast. Well, you just, you kind of got the wrong mentality in it and kind of developed a spot in you where now it's about performance and not fun.
Yep. I see it. I see it on the trail all the time.
Yep.
And, you know, you feel for those people, but there's nothing. Nothing you can tell them to say, hey, take it less serious and you'll shoot better. It's like, Steve Wingo says, don't let one's goals get in the way of achieving one's goals. And I'm like, what kind of hokey mumbo jumbo did you just, he goes, think about it. Don't let one's goals get in the way of achieving one's goals. And it's simple, but it makes a lot of sense on the level, because you go out there and it's the bow's dialed, everything's hitting good. I'm hammering, I can't miss. And you get out there on target one and just, whoa, boom, there's an 8, you know, and you got 19 targets to dig out. You can hit 19 out of 20. You can't win the tournament on the first arrow, and you can't lose the tournament on the first arrow.
Nope.
So
one of the best things you can learn is leave that shot at that target. Every target's its own tournament, right? Yeah. I mean, you can't change the one you just fired. You got to change it on the next one. That's just where you're at, you know? And so, but I mean, again, if you don't know these things, you know, you're never going to know them if you don't go. And that's why I'm an advocate for get out and shoot your bow. Go shoot some of these tournaments. See what it's about, because I promise you, when them guys are shooting good, there's a lot of pressure at the top. So your own goals get in the way of your own goals. Like you said, you know, getting there is one thing. And I think sometimes that's the hunger that we need, but staying there is the pressure. Yeah. Right. And that's the pressure that, you know, again, coming from a preacher standpoint here, you know, I've preached about coal, you know, what, or diamonds, what it takes to make them. And that's pressure, time, and heat. You know, the longer you stay at the top, the hotter it gets. And it's a lot more pressure. So you're either going to turn to rubble or a diamond. And that to me is part of the game. It's the part that I love. Let's see what I'm made of. I don't even know. They're like, you think you can handle it? I don't know. Let's find out. You know what I mean?
That's been the best part of those team shoots after the qualifiers, because you get guys out there who'll go 14, 14, 14, 14, 14, and they'll just hit them all 5 of them. And then it's like, all right, we're going to shoot the closest to center arrow to see who wins the target. And all of a sudden it's just flying off the rails. It's like, man, where did that perfect execution go? That good follow through. It's like big buck syndrome. It's like buck fever again on a rubber javelina at 45 yards. And I don't know what it is, but it's not so much nerves as excitement. You're excited. You're shaking head to toe. And it's like, man, people put that in a negative light. It's like, if that doesn't get you going, you shouldn't be deer hunting, you know? Right. Even when it's a doe walking in, and I'm just like, oh, buddy, I'm about to put the whammy on her. Yeah. Like, let's go, baby. I'm ready to get out of this tree.
Whammy down,
start whacking and tracking. Yeah. But it's the same way with archery. You know, you shoot in your backyard, you shoot at the locals and you kill it. And then you go up there to the big pro-am or the national tournament, and it's like, I can't do it. I can't even pull my bow back. I can't even stay in my sight. Like, why are you so nerved up? It's like, dude, everybody here has to go back to work on Monday. If you can win this one and the next one, they're not going to name a street after you. There's not going to be a parade. You are not going to get your own holiday. You might move up to the next class above you. But like you were saying before, once you get to the top, man, it's hard to stay there. Everybody's chasing you, and they're all looking at what you're doing. What's he running? What's he got on his stabilizers? What kind of lens is he running? What arrows is he shooting? And I got news for you. You work in a pro shop. We'll get into that in a second, but gear doesn't do you anything except build your expectations up. Yeah. There was guys that won Vegas no back bar, and a 4-inch left hair, and the bow was not even timed. No, we didn't worry about that. Draw length was off. It just, if you hammer it the same way every time, it's going to go the same way every time. And we are so fascinated now with gizmos and gear and doohickeys and whatnots and gadgets and gazmos, all this crap, that it is a pacifier. It is a physical pacifier for a mental deficiency. And we made a whole industry out of it, and you should support that industry. They're all archery salesmen, and they shoot their bows and they go deer hunting too. So I'd rather give them my money than give it to the state for, fines and taxes and everything else. Not to get political, but
right.
Let's call a spade. Like, you're searching for something physically to impact what is happening mentally. And yes, you can do it, but it is a dark road to get down. So
we got to come to the realization the equipment that we have now is the very best it's ever been. I've been, like I said, shooting a long time. So, people will ask you what's the best, and you're like, dude, about anything you tie on, it'll tune and it'll shoot good. It won't fail you. It'll do a good job for you, right? And so we do get into that. A lot of folks, they think they can buy accuracy. A lot of folks think that, if they miss a big buck or they failed at a tournament, they're like, I need this new gadget because I think that's my problem. If I put, just a little something, and I'm not against tweaking. You won't find anybody as probably detail oriented as myself. I will break it down. Before I'll take something out, I have went through it with a fine tooth comb, as you probably do, to the best of my ability. But once that I see that, it's bare shafted, it's popping a hole, I'm grouping well with it, everything's set, I just have to trust it. And that's where we have our problem, is trying to develop something we trust. And it's not the bow that we can lose our trust in as much as we don't want to admit it's me. You know what I mean? I'm having a problem. I have these little things, and I see guys all the time come into the range and they're like, watch me shoot. And so we'll tweak something just so small as how they hold the release against their face, if they're wadding it up or laying it flat, just a little something. And that seems you can exaggerate that whenever you're nervous, right? So, and of course we know the left and right horror story that can be. And something as small as that, like just lay it flat and man, just bam. You know what I mean? Those guys will come back, good scores, big bucks, something that little. But I'm going to tell you, I can't tell you how many times I've said, you don't need a new sight. Let's go watch you shoot. And then, and I'm sure, sometimes some folks might like, well, you sell this stuff for a living. I do, but I only want to sell it to folks who need it. I don't want to be a crook. I ain't trying to take something from you that you don't need to buy. And that's how trust is developed. And we don't stay in this industry and do what we do off of a one-time customer. It is a repetitive thing. And if you trust me and me giving you good advice, not just, selling you stuff, you're going to come back when you need that sight. You know what I'm saying? When you really do. So I want to help you with your experience, because I want you to love archery. I don't want it to be frustrating to you. Sadly to say, it's going to be, but anything I can pour in to help you, you know what I mean? That's going to be beneficial, because 90% of the time, it's just a little something in your form that you've let in there that maybe nerves and that building tension that has come up in you, and then that apprehension, and then God forbid you get the TP word, we won't even say its name. You know what I mean? And it's all from that mounted pressure, right? It just, and before you know it, it's a nightmare for you to even think about going shooting your bow. And I want to eliminate that, right? Catch it when it starts, help you through it. And if it happens to be your rest, not falling, we'll time it. Or if it's just messed up, there's times we do need to put something on, but we want to make sure that's a time that it's needed, not that it's just, oh, here you go, bud. I got this here, do it all. I mean, this is a Swiss Army knife of bow equipment. If you don't have this, you ain't serious. You know what I mean? Just, we don't do that at our shop, And
there's a fine line that the pro shop plays in that, because if you have $300 and you want to go buy a new sight, you could go to 10 qualifiers for $300, and you could meet people that have done it back then, that was like when I first started shooting. Dan Gaston looked at my rest and he said, "That rest is older than you. Give me that off there. We're going to put a Hamsky on there." I said, "What in God's name is a Hamsky?"
Yeah.
And I think we got about 14 of those things now, and it's the only thing I like shooting.
Only thing I run too. I love them.
Yeah, I love them. I know how to. I like the old ones with the old screws and the washers. I don't even mess with the new ones. I like the hybrid Pro with the micro adjust and no bar underneath it because it smacks my hand. But like, you got like some people, and we were talking to Marty Russell. He was like, I was like, "What got your wife interested in shooting?" She goes, "Well, she got a new bow." So if that purchase and that dopamine rush is what, hey, I got it and I want to go out there, that's fine. I'm all for it. Hey, you got a new bow or you got a new set of arrows or a new release, like let's go shoot it a bunch and figure out, how many of them we can launch through the forest. But if that's what you're thinking is going to make you better, it gets in a real kind of dicey area because, I mean, I've met people that are shooting an arrow that's underspined or way over spine. That it might make a little bit of difference, but once you start tuning things, how do you go about advising them as a pro shop guy? You're the guy behind the counter. How do you know who's just there to, John Dudley or Cam Haynes said, I need this bow and I'm going to run it at 90 pounds and I got to shoot a 200 spine arrow and it's got to be a heavy FOC. It's like, hey, if that's what you want to do, I'm going to sell it to you.
That's exactly my take on it. Like, I'm always making jokes because I'm kind of a lighthearted guy, but if they walk in and they're really just having a problem and they're carrying a bow case, first thing I do is open that case up. Let's have a look at what you're running, right? I want to see what spine of arrow you're running. Then I'm going to ask you, of course we can look at guys and, I can tell if you're 29 to 30 in there, you know what I mean? So I'm going to look at your setup and if, somebody walks in with 400s and a 30-inch draw shooting a, Matthews arc, I'm going to go, I mean, these would, you've got a few things here happening and the thing I see the most is people overdraw their bow a lot. Sometimes they don't get it set up right. So we really try before I'm not ever going to discourage if you look, I'm always making the joke. If you walk in the shop and you start making a ton of excuses to why you don't like your stuff, I'm always making this joke of, I'm not your wife here. If you just want a new bow, I want one I'd have 6 of them right now. I want one. So if you just want one because you want one, man, hey, I'm with you, brother. I'll embrace that. Let's get it off the shelf and get it set up. But if you're wanting one because you're just so frustrated with this one that you can't seem to wrap your head around why, then I'm going to start I'm going to ask you, are you unhappy with this bow or are you unhappy with your shot? What's going on? Well, let's go in here and shoot it. Let me look at your arrows. I'll cut them one that's a, 250 or 300, depending on their draw weight and their draw length. And then we'll go in there and, I'll pop it through paper, make a few adjustments, and then we'll get back and, look at their form. I start with all that because no matter what bow I sell them, if I sell them one and their form's still bad and they go home with their 400 spine arrows and all their stuff, nothing's fixed, nothing's changed. So I want to make sure, that's the thing that we see the industry going to is shootability, right? They've worked on how a bow feels, but we also got to work on how they shoot it. So we want them to leave our shop the proper draw length, the proper draw weight. They ain't sky drawing or holding their breath going, you know what I mean? Just really struggling to get it back because, getting it back's one thing, holding it back's another. So we want to get them comfortable and set them up with as much information as we can, as much knowledge, as much form as we can help them fix. Because if they're going to be successful, it's going to have to start there. Then they'll love their bow, right? They develop a relationship with the bow. And because if it's their first one, you know how that is. That first one, it's magic, especially if it's a good one, right? Yeah. So that's how I approach that. If you're not happy with the way a pin is configured on your site and you hate it, I'm going to help you find the one you love. That's fine with me. If there's something small in there you don't like, I don't sit and try to talk you out of, well, you're probably not going to like this one, or this one. So let's go with this one. And so again, I'm not discouraging you to buy. I'm going to fill out some information. Why is it that you want to replace this? Because obviously you open this case and I see top of the line, good stuff here. You know, I don't see anything junky. I don't see a, 96 high country with hatchet cams with the original strings on it and, some pin sights with a BB on the end dipped in jig head paint. You know, what I'm talking about with a TM Hunter and
you got to go the white and the orange.
Yes, yeah. And then your aluminum arrows with those wore out brittle 5-inch veins on it that won't stay. You know what I'm saying? We see all of it, right? I've seen JB Weld hold in a peep sight. I've seen a lot of things. So, but the point being is I want to make sure before I sell you $2,800 worth of stuff that you want it or need it. Now, if we go in there and your form looks good, it's fitting you good, and you just can't get along with it, and you're dead set, then I'm gonna go, let's do it, man. Let's go find your new bow. And I line them up. I don't just grab one and say, here you go, this is the one you got to shoot. We got hooks on the wall, and I line up the we carry PSC, we carry Elite, Matthews, Hoyt, Bowtech. I'm going to line them all up. And then, you know how it is. That bow usually just picks you. You'll gravitate to it. You just can't put it down. And then, again, then we start from right there. And then we just sit in there. I always tune you before you leave, and we'll sight you in at 20. We'll help you get sighted in at 20 so you ain't launching, $20 a piece arrows over your bag and plowing up the ground for the flower garden. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Or into your neighbor's backyard. That's Well, y'all are out. HL's out at McAlester, so hopefully they got a little more acreage out there. But city folks like shooting bow too. I can get 26.5 yards in my backyard is what I can get, and right now I'm freaking dialed in at 26.5 yards.
Nobody can beat me at 26 and a half.
I expect all 20 of those targets from the white stake this weekend to be
right.
Yards. Hell, I saw Garrett shoot 22 up and turned around and missed a 14.5 yarder on the next one. And he was like, what did you run it at? And I was like, right there. He goes, oh, I'll do that. Boink. I'm just like, what in the? I was like, it worked on mine. I don't know what the, it's halfway in between my 15 and my 20 mark is about where I hit it. And it doesn't work that way. So, it's part of the game.
Sometimes it's not always between your 15 and 20 mark. Sometimes it's between your left ear and your right ear. You know what I mean?
It was dark. It was dark. It was a mule deer in a hole, a big target with dark paint and a dark hole, real close. And, I could have just as easily been shooting a tree as the foam. But there was a few of them on that last round that was kind of that way. We had the first 3 or 4 in the morning, and it was black target, black hole, black target, black hole. I was like, Carl, do you even like us? And he's like, I probably should have put a brown one or two in there, but I didn't even think of that. Oops.
Torture.
Yeah. Just
those are the ones that I'm always making the joke. They're like, what are you going to aim at on this one? I said, I'm going to kill him. That's what I'm going to do. If I aim to kill him, it's going to work out at least maybe a 10. You know what I mean? So that's a joke that I tell Garrett all the time. He's like, what are you going to do right here? I'm just going to kill him. I can't see nothing, so I'm going to kill him. And it usually works. 10's my friend. I'll take it,
Yeah, we can work with that. We don't give none back.
No. So usually if you aim to kill him, if you can see that thing fly where he would die, then, that's what I'm always telling them. If I'm in those spots, of course, my old eyes are aging. You can silhouette about anything. I'll just put it behind that shoulder and let it eat when they're dark. And that's just the way it is. I don't know how many other people do that, but that's the way I do it. And sometimes, you'll luck into that 12. So,
Shoot mostly lowers, or you call upper every once in a while?
Man, I'm hopelessly a lower guy. I cannot help myself. I know remember we were shooting, you're going, hey, Bobby, we can shoot at uppers now. Whenever we went and shot at McAlester, and I'm like, yeah, because I was hitting them. But that ain't where I was aiming, bro. That's just where they was going.
If you just call them, you get 2 points for doing that.
Right.
Yeah. Aim at the lower and hit the upper. Now it works on team shoot. Works on team shoot all day long. You don't have to call uppers or lowers.
Right.
Just like the ones at the pro-ams. Everybody's headed off to do that tomorrow.
Yeah.
But man, I'm excited about your qualifier coming up this weekend, but y'all also have another event in September. I kind of wanted to pick your brain about. I want to put the word out on it. So tell everybody what you guys are planning. It's more of a hunting style event, so doesn't mean you can't bring a whole truckload of guys to it. But tell everybody what we're going to be doing in September.
Yeah, it's called Bucks and Bibles. Man down the road here, his name is Daryl Edwards. He's I met him through my son. Just a good man. We love him, and he's wanting to see people that normally probably wouldn't come to a church setting. Sometimes we're trying to always get Jesus into folks, right? And I'm not trying to get too religious here, but that's just what you're asking. So he started out by people would bring their mounts, like their most interesting mounts, and they would have like a little contest there, and people would vote on it, and he'd give away door prizes. And he's always trying to see people sponsor that. Well, since we got the range up and going this year, he's all those folks instead of and I think they're still going to do the mount thing, but that Saturday they're going to come out that morning, and we're going to have a shoot, and it is going to be our hunting bows only, of course, and it usually pulls in a big crowd, but it's also a time to fellowship. And I think he's planning on doing some kind of scripture memory on putting a tag on the back of the target. And when you hit it, if you walk up there and read it, you'll get a little extra points for remembering it. We're going to pull out some old VBS on you. You know what I mean? Some vacation.
Yeah, I was going to say all the kids right now are going to VBS. It's going to be a VBS 3D tournament, baby.
Right. But and it's not just that. Of course, we're going to shoot for score. There's going to be prizes, and it's going to be a good time. It's not just going to be like a novelty thing where nobody takes it serious, because I don't know about everywhere in Oklahoma, but in the South, man, if it's trying to flip a green bean into a can, we're trying to win. You know what I'm saying? So nobody's showing up, with I don't care much. No, we all showing up, and we're all going to bring our hunting bows, because we have it on our mind then, right? September 19th, and we're already scoping out them game cameras, and so it's just a good brush up, but it's also just a good time to fellowship with guys that you'll see. That's kind of a stigma. We see a lot of folks, they think, well, I'm Christian, man, all of them just wear slacks and button ups and carry Werthers in their pocket, and when they come up and they find out them just a bunch of rednecks, and I'm going, yeah, you can be a redneck and love Jesus, bro. It's a thing. We got whole churches that do it. You see that you don't have to be flawless to love the Lord, right? You don't have to be all polished up. I mean, we're just here trying to make it like the next one, right? So
are you going to do it as a trickle start all day long? Are you going to do it as a shotgun start?
It's going to be a shotgun start, because afterward they're going to go back to the church, or we'll go back to the church, and they're going to feed you. You don't have to pay for that. And they're going to, again, have like door prizes drawing. And then, you get to look at a lot of cool mounts and see a lot of good deer and animals in general that people have killed in this area. That's what makes it so cool. You look at some 200 class deer and you're going, they killed that around here. And you're like, no, you're like, no, that was an Alberta, Canada hunt I had. You know what I mean? Just
they all get a little paranoid when you
right. You're like, hey, kill it around here. What are you talking about?
Oh, yeah, over there off Danforth and 33rd.
Right.
No.
That one come over behind Bobby. Yeah, shut up, dude. You're like,
it's about that time. Everybody's starting to turn their trail cameras on. That they're growing velvet, and they're turning in from blobs to, well, he needs a year. Oh, it's his time.
Yeah, I can't tell you, and that's one of my favorite things in my job too. Everybody brings trail camera pictures, but every one of them right now, dude, I swear that's a 180. And then whenever he rubs all that velvet off, well, he's not that big, just it's a lot of fun.
So some of them look good in velvet, and you're like, this is his year. And then you see him later, and you're just like, whatever you've done, you've saved your life for at least another season. Now, on my 40 acres, the neighbor kid over there, one of them's got a crossbow and the other one's got a rifle. And if it's brown, it's down, baby. They ain't letting nothing walk.
That can be good and that can be bad. The big one gets in front of them, they'll get him, but hopefully they'll tag out before he gets there.
Well, yeah, they don't hunt between October 1st and 10th. I'm out there best $3 I've shot is October 1st, 2nd, and
Yep.
3rd. So it might be 94 degrees, covered in mosquitoes, ticks, and heat stroke. I'm out there in a leaf suit and my boxers, nothing else. Just that little head net on and the leaf suit up top and the leaf suit and bottom and a little thin T-shirt underneath and some short shorts. And yeah, we're getting killed that way.
We were talking about that today. When I was young, October, you actually had to have a jacket.
Yeah.
But now it seems like, I guess when I really noticed it, I guess Garrett was probably 15 and we was hunting around the lake, around Sardis Lake there. And you was talking about your leafy suit and your underwear. I'd killed 2 deer that day, but one in the morning, one in the evening. But he come up to the blind and I had gotten one of them little thermometers that they put in like freezer units.
Mm-hmm.
And I stuck it in the blind with me, and he poked his head through that blind, and I was sitting there in my overalls, and they were on the ground, and I was sitting there in my boxers, and I had killed a deer in my boxers, in a blind. And he goes, "What are you doing?" I said, I pulled that deal up, and I said, "It's 98 degrees in here. That's what I'm doing."
Yeah.
So
reminds me of antelope hunting, sitting in that black blind over a water hole going, man, it's only 100. I wish it'd get a little hotter so they'd get thirsty. And it's like, dude, you might cook yourself in there because we're sun up to sundown. And that was the longest 3 days of hunting I've ever did. I mean, that's what we do to guys in prison that act up. We put them in solitary confinement. Right. My dad says, "Hey, we drew Wyoming, ready to go bow hunt over a water hole?" I'm like, "Just take a pistol with me." He's like, "Well, you worried about snakes?" It's like, "No, I'm worried about being alone with my own thoughts, man. That'll get you killed in this country."
Yeah. That's pretty good, but
just need one bullet. That's all.
Yeah, that early season, man, I'm going to tell you, you feel like you're well done. That meat falling off the bone, you get out of that blind. I stay out of them now. I just get up in a tree. So
it's good where the breeze is.
Oh yeah.
Well, Bobby, give us just a quick rundown. Tell them about your shop. Drop the range address one more time. If y'all have never been there, don't feel bad because none of us have. The address, the GPS pin is on asaoklahoma.com. You can hopefully, I guess somebody's checked it to see if it's accurate. If not, just call me or Bobby and we'll go wave you down by the road. But tell them where your shop is and tell them where your range is and what time we're getting started this weekend.
All right. Well, we'll have signs pointing. So, I mean, it's really hard to miss a big sign, but I do it all the time because, I do the squirrel a lot. Would you see that? Anyway, it's 58596 Lennox Road in Muse, Oklahoma. You put that in your GPS. It'll bring you here. You turn right there. And I mean, you just drive to the end. You can't miss us. We're going to start at 9:00 because, obviously the heat, we're going to have a shotgun start at 9:00. It's going to be a good time. We got restrooms on site. We're going to have concession. We'll have a lot of signage so you'll know where you're at. Man, it's going to be easy walking. So don't be deterred by, terrain if you hear mountainous because we're down in the bottoms. It's going to be good. Just bring your rubber boots just in case. I mean, it could be dried up. Bring you some mosquito repellent, a positive attitude, and, a competitive spirit as well. I think it'll be a good time. You'll be met with a lot of, fellowship and love. We're just good old folks. We just want to see everybody have a good time. I think it'll be a blessing. I work at HL's Sport and we're at 603 Village Boulevard. We carry all major brands and we know what we're doing. So if you need some help, we can help you with that too, whether it be form, shooting, or equipment. We'd be happy to help you.
The last time I was in there, I think it was you behind the counter. I hadn't never met you yet, but I was like, "Y'all got any old cams for old Hoyt?" And you got like, "Yeah, I got about 3 boxes of them back here. You want to come turn them over and dig through them?" I was like, "Yeah, that's what I know. There's about 3 of them I'm looking for a project." And you're like, "Have at it, big dog."
Yeah, that's the way we are. I mean, I'm the guy that pulls the screws out of every broken sight because you know how many people's hunt I've saved that's come from Louisiana or Florida or up north, and they're like, "Man, I just need this one screw," and I'll have a whole box full of screws that I pulled out, and I'll find one that fits. And it's just a screw. You can have it, but to them it means everything. They've spent thousands of dollars, so we don't throw nothing away, and we might just have what you're looking for. You never know.
That's the beauty of it, going and seeing all those shops. And everybody's like, "Well, I shoot for this shop or I go to that shop." It's like, yeah, but You don't know what they got laying around back there. They might have a good limb, like 3 limbs exploded, and they got one good one. Like, here, you shoot a XT 2000 Hoyt from '98. Oh, here's a box of parts for it.
Yeah, I need a left limb. I just happen to have one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I've been tripping over it for 12 years now. Get it out of here. So there's always those, those hidden gems in there. That's like, get your backup screw, get your backup limb bolt. You might find a backup riser in there. So
you don't know if you don't ask. That's what I tell people.
Oh yeah.
You ask me. I mean, like I said, I've got just droves of stuff that I can't bring myself to throw away because I have literally every year. And I'm not exaggerating. Every year, those screws save somebody's hunt. I mean, they just do. That limb that you don't want to throw away saves somebody. That cam from '98, you're like, we should probably just chuck this stuff. A guy will walk in and go, hey, man, do you have a cam for a Defiant, one of the old Defiants? You know what I mean? You got to be real old school to know what I'm talking about, like the '90s, And you're like, I just happen to have a set. You know what I mean?
I got 2 tops and a bottom. Which one you need?
Right. Yeah.
It's like it dry fired and only warped one of them. It's like, well, good thing you came in.
Them bows, we always talk about, get your grip. That's them bows. You go right here. You got to grip it like that.
We've had some engineering changes over the past 30 years that make it a little more user friendly.
Yeah.
Well, Bobby, thank you for sitting down with us, man. Thanks for jumping on the qualifier trail this weekend. If y'all don't know, that's the schedule says Sanctuary. That's where we were scheduled, but Brandon Gray welcomed another baby into the world, so he's off on paternity leave, and Bobby and them kind of pulled our weenies out of the fire in a hurry. So I appreciate y'all. I hope everybody that's not in Metropolis will make the trip out and come shoot with us this weekend. It's going to be fun. If not, we'll have you on the schedule next year, and y'all get a chance to check this range out. It's going to be a good one.
I think so. I think people will be pleased, and we appreciate you, having us on the podcast here. It means a lot. We can get the info out,
Well, they just want to hear archery stories. They want to hear talk about the glory days and this and that. So we'll come do it again before the next one. We'll do everything we can to circulate your Bucks and Bible event, September 19th, shotgun start. Look for details on that one, and we'll see you all out there on the 3D trail.
All righty, buddy. Sounds good.
Thanks, guys. See you next time.